take 7. It's Daryl or Dee checking in with a high-level Vedic astrology update for you. Just wanted to squeeze something out really quickly so that I can at least hit the top 6 or so. I will try and give detailed information about these transits specific to each sign because I do think it warrants that type of information because they'll be here for a long time. Jupiter in Pisces just has happened on the 13th, and then Saturn is moving into Aquarius, and they're both going to be there. Jupiter till 2023 and Saturn for longer than that, and these are slow moving, very impactful planets. What's important to note, and what you might want to take a look at getting if you don't have it yet, is to understand your birth chart, your own birth chart, according to Vedic astrology or a sidereal zodiac, because the ascendant, what's coming up over the eastern horizon, was what pins everything else and can tell you what area of life you'd be working with these energies. So let me give an example. Well, first let me talk about what the planets are like. Jupiter, I love that it means guru in Sanskrit is how you say that. And it's about intelligence. It's about expansion and growth. It's about higher wisdom. It's connecting the details of our bigger life's experience, the things that we've learned as we're progressing through our own evolutionary cycle, and bringing them to a higher placement. If though in your chart this planet's expression is compromised or has some type of compression, it might impact you slightly differently. You may be already learning the lessons, and everything depends, and it's really hard to say unless one is reading your chart to see. But Jupiter generally overall in this transit for everyone is going to feel a little bit like we're moving forward. Okay, finally something's letting up, but there's still all these questions, and how do we synthesize this, and how do we integrate what we know now, or is everything going back to normal? What does that feel like? Well, you're not ever just gonna feel the one thing. In addition, Venus today has just moved into the same placement in Pisces, and Pisces is that watery feeling. And if you are to look at the zodiac and count them 1 through 12, the signs, Aries being the first, coming all the way through this progression and evolutionary growth process, you can see Aries is kind of coming out here, and then Taurus is a little more stuck, and then we're checking out our environment, and then going all the way through to Pisces, where we're like, okay, we're done, we did it all, liberation from all things. In a way, we're seeking to ground ourselves and bring ourselves into this higher way of being. And I'm saying higher way, but I'm talking about vibration. I don't mean like hoity or I'm better than this, or how we're working with these energies are really important. And it meets us wherever we are. Wherever you are, this energy is going to be expressed somehow in your life. And generally it might feel just like an expansive openness for some who may have Jupiter, again, like I mentioned, not at its highest expression. It can feel like it's a new lesson, but it will be moving forward, right? With Venus just moving in here too. Venus is exalted in this placement, but together with Jupiter, sometimes there's, the planets, when they get super close to one another, there's like an intensity. But Venus is where we find our happiness, or what we're seeking through happiness, and how we connect with others, and how we're bringing into our lives the joy that we're seeking, or, careful too to maybe look for the tendency not to get lost in it. Moon happens to be here too, so our feelings about all this stuff is just going to be like, what? So the tendency could be to be lost in feelings. It could be, checking out, or binge watching things, or it can be that we just want to relax and take it slow. That would be my recommendation, just overall, because again, a lot to talk about in one very short video, and I can't get it all in. Mercury has just moved into Taurus, and so I'm wondering how this might feel for many. I would think couple of different ways is that you could be getting stuck in the details. And Taurus is, we all have a anchoring process, or getting lost in the details, considering Venus is now transiting through Pisces, you know, it's just one way to make sure that you're really doing the self-care that you can. Be slow and methodical. I would say compassionate and kind with yourself. Sun is also in an exalted placement, and it's just like, what? Power, power, power. So if you were, say, a Sagittarius, and I'm looking at my chart, if you're Sagittarius, the sun placement for you would be in your passions, and Rahu's there. So it might feel like an expanded, oh, I'm super passionate about this, and or your kids, or whatever it is that's coming out for you. That transit, if for the Jupiter Venus transit right now, if you're a Virgo, that's your fourth house, where your emotional well-being might feel a little more inspired, or it might, depending on how Jupiter is in your chart and where it's placed, and or your relationships may come under review. There's so much going on, and you know, I hesitated to even put anything out because I thought, oh, there's no way I'm going to catch it all. Saturn getting ready to transit into Aquarius, it also rules that area, but Mars is there as well. So how will that feel? Well, I guess that's another video for another day. I really think we have a lot to get acquainted with in this new transit cycle, and there's no good or bad, you know, like I really want to say, oh, it just feels so good, but you know, that's not being honest entirely, because it's all subjective, right? Entirely based upon your chart, based upon your emotional well-being generally. Are like, are you hungry, angry, lonely, tired? Are you taking care of yourself? Where are you in the evolutionary process? Are you growing spiritually? Are we retracting? But just know that Jupiter is about growth and expansion and wealth, because that's about growth, isn't it? Or money or God. You know, it's about making something bigger for ourselves. And what does that look like? So I kind of feel like I went in a big old circle there, but I'm hoping that one of two things: either if you're curious about where this lands for you, you can just really truly shoot me an email with your birth times and details, and I'll get you a copy of your chart and let you know. If you're a Virgo, this impacts your 4th and 7th house. If you're a Gemini, it's your 7th and 10th house, like that. And that's relationships and work. So where does it land for you? Well, that depends. It depends, but so much is happening and a lot is coming. So thanks for sticking with me. I hope you made it all the way through, and I so appreciate your support and your kindness and your kind words and sharing. I just want everyone to have a beautiful day. I would love that. No guarantees, but adjust well, drink lots of water, be well, do well, and be nice to people. Okay, take care.